Oh, I didn't mean to skip that. Hello, welcome back. I'm doing another episode of this because I felt like it, and I got a comment on my last video, and it really made me think that if I can make just one person happy with my videos, why not do more? So, first things first, I hope my audio quality is a little higher. I got a new mic. Fortunately, you're going to have to listen to my computer dying the entire time. I can't do anything to change that. I usually live stream all of my little recordings I do. Just, you know, spur of the moment kind of shit, but that's what I'm not doing because I don't feel like it. But we are going to do another hour or so episode of this. It's 2:30 in the morning, so yeah, this is what time I stay up to. So where we left off, we hung out with Stan Ford out with Mothman, and made it back to sleep, and we wake up, and there was some commotion coming from the kitchen. So, more clatters and thumps lead you into the kitchen, where Mabel teeters on a short stepladder in front of the pantry. Standing on her tiptoes, she reaches as high as she can for a small yellow box on the top of the shelf. Pancake mix. Pancakes are great. Without a word, you go to her side and pluck the box from the shelf for her, placing it into her outstretched hands. Oh, Boo-Boo, thank you. Uncle Stan put it on top shelf for some reason, but I want no need some Mabel cakes. It's a breakfast emergency. She waggles her free fingers in your face, and you can't help but laugh. You can tell the house becomes more alive when this kid's around. Want to help me make them? We only need chocolate milk, coffee, pink food coloring, and Potto Goldos to make this breakfast dream a breakfast reality. As delicious as that sounds, you're inclined to ask where the coffee comes into the mix when you realize the house is suspiciously quiet. Mabel, where is everybody? Oh, Grunkle Stan needed some stuff for your car, so we went to go get mechy techie stuff for that. I think Grunkle Ford's somewhere. He heard the abominable bro man was trying to steal soda from campers, so he went to help them out. Yep, that's where he went. Totally knew that. So he left you guys to make breakfast on your own? You don't know the family well enough yet to know this is a Fuck, I haven't read aloud in like months. Hang on. You don't know the family well enough yet to know this is commonplace, so the idea of leaving two teenagers alone to fend for themselves seems fine. If one of the teenagers wasn't Mabel, anyway. Still don't know how coffee fits into her Mabel cakes, but now you don't really want to know. Dipper attempts to hide the pancake mix from Mabel while she's grabbing the chocolate milk from the fridge. Apparently he doesn't want to find out either. I want some Mabel cakes, that sounds delicious. Next episode, I'm going to make Mabel cakes in my kitchen. I'm not going to do that, but maybe. That sounds like fun. Mabel, while your Mabel cakes sound absolutely divine, why don't we... Quick, think of something so you don't hurt her feelings. Go out for breakfast. There's some place we can go out to get breakfast? We should really save the Mabel cakes till your great uncles get back. I know they would want to miss them. But I want to perfect my recipe. I have to get better at cooking and baking and stuff so I can survive out there in the world. What if in high school I have to bake stuff and people are better than me? There's no way. No chance. Mabel looks very agitated, tugging at her hair with both hands. If I can't make the perfect Mabel cake, I can never be on Bad Dreams Dining. I gotta impress Gerald Rambone. Boo-Boo, it's my destiny. Quick. Maybe Dipper can help you make something different. We should save the Mabel cakes for another day, a more special day. But I want to make Mabel cakes with her. Where's that option? Every day is a special day with Mabel cakes. Yes, let's make Mabel cakes. You glance at Dipper making a please help me and I'll buy you breakfast face. You hope he understands. Yeah, Mabel, I know you want to cook more since you're becoming an adult. Sure, but don't think Uncle Stan and Great Uncle Ford should be here to try them too? And not just me, again. Mabel hops off the stepladder and ponders her brother's question, lips pursed. Eventually she nods, beaming at you both. You're right, Dipper. I can't deny them that experience. It's not a foodstuff, it's an experience. You give Dipper a thankful smile over Mabel's head as she puts the ingredients back in the refrigerator. He grins back at you, rubbing the back of his neck. You wonder if he got that one from one of his grunkles. That's clever now that you think about it. Great plus uncle to make grunkle. Saves time on syllables. We should go to Greasy's. They have some of the best pancakes there with like 3 different kinds of syrup if you ask Lazy Susan nicely. Yeah, it's not super far. Let's go. The kids are about to head out of the kitchen when you realize something. Wait, aren't you going to leave a note for your grunkles about where you're going? Oh, right, good call. Dipper scribbles out a note for Stan and Ford and sticks it on the front door of the shack with one of Mabel's stickers. I really wanted to do Mabel cakes. I'm really upset that that's not an option. The kids lead the way towards the town, explaining various landmarks and the wild and wonderful stories attached to them along the way. And this is where we saw those 2 ghosty old people in a convenience store. Strange, but you nod regardless. Maybe she just meant they were so old they looked like ghosts. Though, after what you've heard about Gravity Falls already, you could believe they were real ghosts. Dipper points out the diner in the distance, a log-shaped building atop a train cart, and the 3 of you head inside. You soon realize that the kids know just about everyone in this town. Several people, young and old, wave at them as the 3 of you find a table. And you get the feeling that they're almost famous in Gravity Falls, though you're not entirely sure why. They're pretty cute, though. Mabel blows the paper wrapper off her straw at Dipper's face, and he retaliates by swatting her with the laminated menu. I do that all the time. It's so much fun. An elderly woman in a pastel pink waitress dress comes up to the table, and you catch the name on her tag, Susan. I'm not doing a voice. Hiya, kids and stranger. What can I get for you? Pancakes and all 3 syrups for me, please, Lazy Susan. Same for me, actually. Lazy Susan turns to you, notepad in hand. I want waffles. Fuck you guys. Disrespect, you're so round. Lazy Susan winks with her good eye, of course, and heads back to the diner. The wait for your food to arrive feels longer here than most, mainly due to Mabel and Dipper using this time to interrogate you. At first, it's somewhat intimidating. You literally crashed into their house and started hanging out with their great-uncles, so they have lots of questions. As would I. Once the irrational fear of 2 13-year-olds fades out, you recognize their interview for what it really is. They care about their grunkles. If you do start hanging out with them more, they want to know as much about you as possible. Mabel's questions are somewhat nonsensical. So if you were stranded on a desert island with no boat, no cheating, what would you take with you? What would I take with me? Probably like a cell phone, something to call for help, or like, I don't know. Dippers are more careful and careful. What were you doing before you came here? School, work, both, neither? Did you know about Gravity Falls before you crashed in the sack? I don't remember in the story what I was doing here. I think I was just passing through. I'll have to go back and look. You immediately know which grunkle each twin takes after. Stan and Mabel, goofy partners in crime versus the quiet brainiacs, Ford and Dipper. It's an intriguing contrast, especially now that you're thrown into the middle of the bunch. But as the twins race to see which syrup bottle drips into their mouths the fastest, Dipper's blueberry syrup beats Mabel's classic maple by half a millisecond. You swear on it. You know that these kids do a lot more for their great-uncles than just be cute counterparts. And here we go. Enjoy, kiddos. Let me know if you need anything else. Lady Susan gives out their respective plates, and the kids go quiet, shoveling down their food like they've never been fed before. Between mouthfuls, you get a few more questions about yourself and your theories on aliens versus which member of M synchronized was your favorite, but the table is near silent as the 3 of you eat. That is until Mabel speaks up through a mouthful of pancake. So, Boo Boo, if in a totally made up and not real situation you had to pick your favorite was, who'd you pick, Uncle Stan or Uncle Ford? Oh, I like Ford. I'd probably have to pick Ford. But they're both great. This seems too bland compared to her other cutesy questions. Dipper elbows her sister not so subtly, and she elbows him right back, wide eyes staring at him in a sibling-linked look that you can't decipher. Like, say you're in a movie. Like one of those weird movies Grunkle Stan watches on TV with ladies in poofy dresses riding horses. Awfully specific, but you let her continue, taking another bite of your food. You're the main character of this movie, and you got two guys who are both madly in love with you. This one doesn't mess around, getting right to the point, huh? But you could only marry one of them, so you can be next in line for the throne. What would you do? If Grunkle Stan and Grunkle Ford are your choices, who would you go with? Mabel, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, really weird and kind of gross. Come on, Dipper, this is important information that's vital to my research. What research? None of your business yet, but I'm still gathering other research. Mabel leans towards Dipper's ear to whisper, waggling her brow at you before she replies, and not a whisper, but quite the opposite. Research into how you're a huge nerd! And with that, Mabel catapults the spoonful of melted butter from atop her pancakes onto Dipper's cheek with a very satisfying splat. Dipper jerks in disgust but retaliates by smearing strawberry syrup into Mabel's nose, a drop of stickiness plopping onto her sweater. Ew, gross. You're gross. There's no vitriol between the twins, but lots of giggles and a few more various food missiles. Eventually, syrup streaks Mabel's cheekbones and some of her hair, and Dipper has a small piece of pancake stuck to his face. You guys are dorks. Maybe you're right, but we're twins, so it's adorable. If you say so, Mabel. Wait, Boo Boo, take a picture of us while Dipper's got pancake on his face. I have what? He swipes quickly at his face, and after several passes gets it off. Aw, I was trying to get a more candid picture of him. Mabel, you have syrup everywhere. Really? Oh, then it would have been a perfect photo. Here, let me get it. Your hands are sticky enough. You get back up with napkin in hand and try to wipe some of the syrup off Mabel's cheeks. The excess syrup swipes off easily, but a good portion doesn't budge. I mean, maybe syrup as makeup is the next new look. That's one word for it, kid. It's Stan. Stans. We wondered where you went once we came back to a suspiciously quiet house. If it weren't for Dipper's no, we would have been worried. Sixer would have been worried. I tried to tell him you kids pull this kind of stuff all the time. Heading out unannounced, putting stress in your poor old Grunkle's heart. He puts a hand over his heart dramatically. All those missing hours of unpaid child labor. Actually, that note wasn't me. Well, I wrote it, but Boo Boo's the one who said we should do that. So that you would know where we went. I know how to read. Both Ford and Stan look to you surprised. Because it's that shocking that I'm like, hey, maybe they should know where we are. Really? Figured these two knuckleheads dragged you here. Okay, that makes more sense. Why not make breakfast at home? This place is at least a 15-minute walk from the shack. Well, you glance at Dipper, swiping his fingers across Mabel's cheek and licking the blueberry syrup off. Mabel has a pancake in her mouth, chewing on it like a grazing sheep. I wanted to treat them to something, I guess. It's the least I can do. You're letting me stay with you and fixing my car. I thought since you were gone, I'd take these two out for a change. Also, Mabel was gonna make Mabel cakes again. I want to know what the Mabel cakes are. You're just mad you can't even make toast right. What? Yes, I can. I burned it one time. One time. Dipper holds his syrup-tipped finger in the air, indignant. Well, Mabel wanted you guys to enjoy your Mabel cakes too, and since there wasn't much food, I figured I'd take them out. Stan snatches the pancake from Mabel's mouth and takes a bite out of it, cackling when she stands on the seat to try and grab it back, climbing over Dipper to reach. Aside from the kerfuffle, you catch Ford's eye. Was he staring at you? I hope he was staring at me. As soon as he realizes, he quickly sets his gaze elsewhere, looking over your head and out the window. You'd say that he probably just shifted his intention, but his finger hooks under the high neck of his sweater and tugs at it. Well, Boo Boo, I really appreciate you looking after Dipper and Mabel for, us. It was very kind of you to bring them here. Oh, it wasn't a big deal, really. I am happy to help, man. You smile at him, pretending you don't feel how warm your face is. Maybe it's just hot and greasy. Ford looks close to the shade of his sweater. Dipper mumbles an ow and you catch Mabel elbowing his side, waggling her brows at him. You're not sure why. Man, I wonder why. Well, kid, if you're paying, scoot over, Dipper. I want breakfast too. Sadly, it's at least 12:30 now. I eat breakfast at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because that's when I wake up. Grunkle Ford, that means it's time for brunch, duh. See, this kid gets me. Now let me in so I can get some grub. Dipper moves to your side of the booth as Stan sits next to Mabel and Ford sits at Dipper's side. Lazy Susan comes back and takes orders for another round of food and drinks for everyone, including Mabel, who decides she wants more pancakes. Can I get more waffles? Those are delicious. You're starting to regret offering to pay, but as Stan and Mabel try their hands at the syrup drip race with Dipper cheering them on, Ford watching with a wide grin on his face. You know, you're really... Shoot, I can't read. You know you don't really mind that much. After the expedition to find Mothman, you accompanied Ford on a few other missions, so to speak, examining various birds of the forest, including the questionable stomach-faced duck, who snatched your sandwich and quickly ran off, Ford in hot pursuit. Stomach-faced, so his face was a stomach, or was the... Oh, I remember, so the face is on the stomach, not... I'm dumb. It's been a while. How did they steal my sandwich? Well, I didn't find what evidence he needed, something to do with their digestive systems. You both decided that the stomach-faced duck flock were questionable. Not as questionable as the question quail, which he shows you from the scanned journal page, but it's still questionable. These sound so familiar. Like they're in the journal, aren't they? My journal's in a box somewhere, so I don't know. I'd have to look it up. You asked why he decided the octopus was too stupid to study, but received a loud groan and too sticky as an answer. Valid point. The octopus... What? Oh no. I remember the octopus. All in all, your adventures with Ford have been more enjoyable than you expected, and you can't help but hope that you'll get to experience another one with them soon. You walk through the living room, lost in thought about question quails and Ford's journal pages, and narrowly avoid slipping on a sheet of graph paper. Ah, don't look. Oh, it's you. Dipper peers out over a book and proclaims D, and more D officially licensed campaign journal. He's sitting on the yellow armchair with crisscross legs barricaded in with books and papers. He's got a lap of multicolored dice and a half-dozen chewed pencils strewn across the floor and one in his mouth. You look down and notice the floor is almost entirely covered in graph paper. Please give me the option to play Dungeons and more Dungeons with him. That'd be so much fun. Hi, did you need something? I know it's kind of messy. I should probably clean that up. Dipper looks reluctant. Oh, I hit the scroll wheel on accident. Dipper looks reluctant to extract himself from his self-constructed fantasy lore prison. Here, I can do it. You look busy. You're about halfway through cleaning the floor before you actually start looking at what's on the various sheets you're holding. A fantasy map, some floor plans, and countless scribbled notes and calculations in the margins. What are these for? Planning something? Dipper's re-immersed in his planning. He startles a little when you ask. Oh, right. It's no big deal. It's just for this great pen and paper role-playing game called Dungeons and More Dungeons. DD and MD for short. And it's all about fantasy worlds and statistics and swords, and, well, it's kind of difficult to explain, but it's super fun. I'm playing it with Grunkle Ford today, so I'm just putting down the final touches on my dungeon. He's going to be so stumped. Please let me play with you. Stumped, you say? Ford comes into the room at that precise moment, drying his hands on his trench coat. Perfect timing, Dipper. I just managed to get the paint off my hands. Paint from what? Oh, one of the gnomes came by and decided he'd graffiti the side of the house. Something about his rapper persona. Yeesh. Yes, I don't think Jay Gnomesy is going anywhere in the music business. Oh my god. I'd listen to Jay Gnomesy. I hate rap, but I'm sure he's good. In any event, I see you've been hard at work. Are you ready for our game? Yes, and oh, Boo Boo, I can take those now. Thanks for the help. Ford looks like he just noticed you standing there for the first time since he entered the room. Boo Boo, glad to see you weren't too shaken up by our adventure yesterday. You grin and hand Dipper the tall stack of papers, catching a glimpse of the stats for a knock-knock skull. Well, I made it back in one piece, right? That's the spirit. Though 90% of a piece would have been good too, you know? You never realize how little a difference 10% makes until you lose it. So how was the Mothman? Shaken up on the name of research, though. I've seen it lose a few moths and come back the next week good as new. a process akin to cycling out dead cells. I would say we just expedited the process. No moral issues there. Well, boo-boo, the game calls and I must answer. Stanley's about. If you're looking for him, though, well... If you want to join... Please! 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 Another player. Yeah, totally. I can get you a pre-made character sheet. No, I want to make my own character. And dice. Shoot, where'd I put my other set? Don't worry, I've got an extra set. Oh, yes, please give me Ford's set. We could share a set. Oh, man, there are so many rules. Where to start? I mean, it's easy to pick up. It's even, like, kind of popular now. I know what I'm doing. I play... what would I want to play? Assuming Ford's going for an intelligent character, maybe he plays a wizard. I could play like a paladin and, you know, come to his aid, a wink wink, you know. I completely gave up reading, I'm sorry. You're not sure about committing the whole afternoon to this game with Ford, though Dipper does seem pretty excited about it. But Stan's around too. You want to go check in on your car. Dipper, my boy, I've overdosed on ketamine and I'm going to die. Why don't you and I get things set up in the meantime? Launch into fantasy lore talk as they prop up a corkboard against the yellow armchair, pin up various maps and floor plans with important landmarks, and append their pouches of dice onto the carpet. That sounds like a good idea. Ask to join their game. Fuck you, Stan. I'm playing DD and MD. Great. Oh, shoot. Did you look at the plans earlier? Those were Dungeon Master's eyes only. If I'd known you were going to join us. I know all your plans. All of them! Haha, very funny. Or do you, Uncle Ford, do you think they... What? Sorry, I was rereading this passage on Dwarven architecture. They've really improved their illustrations, though I can't say the same for their prose? Dipper and Ford put the final pieces in their place. The floor is encircled in a mix of propped up corkboards, books, maps, notes, and loose leaf paper. Ford unfolds a game board in the center of the madness. Brilliant, we're ready. Don't look so nervous, boo-boo. You'll have me here to watch. I don't need you. Just let me play a bard. I'll fucking seduce you right here. Horny bards are invalid. Ford sits down next to the game board. He pats the piece of carpet next to him, inviting you to sit, and you do. Dipper sits across from you on the other side of the game board and unfolds an illustrated piece of cardboard, propping it up in front of him. He notices your questioning gaze on it and looks back at you. Oh yeah, this is the Dungeon Master screen. It's just here to protect my secrets. It hides essential die rolls and plot points from prying player eyes. Uncle Ford's tried to look over once or twice and spoil the narrative twist, and you were the only player. I would rocks fall so quickly. Just be like, nope, all dead. I'm just making sure my dungeon mastering apprentice stays on his toes. You can never be too vigilant. Dipper gathers up his dice in a pile next to the DM screen, ready to roll when needed. Now, I mentioned an extra dice set, didn't I? Dice are an important, though by no means essential, component of gameplay. No adventurer should leave home without a set. Yes, I always have my dice on me. I keep mine in the souvenir velvet dice bag from local game store, yes. Does he have a bag of holding? Ford retrieves a dark drawstring bag from his coat and empties it onto the floor, where dice of all shapes and sizes come tumbling out. And now for yours. Ford pulls another matching drawstring bag from the depths of his coat. They were having a buy one, get one discount. Go ahead, take a look. These will be yours for the session. Pour the dice on the carpet as well. Metallic gold with the numbers embossed in black. I have a friend who has that set. Fancy. While I didn't have enough left to make them from solid gold, I was able to electroplate a set for fun. I would what a flex to have solid gold dice. Great Uncle Ford. You electroplated those dice? They're so nice. That didn't mean to rhyme. Maybe you should be the one with the rapping career, not Jay Gnomesy. Ford and Dipper laugh. Yeah, maybe not, but anyway, let me reintroduce our characters. Dipper clears his throat, settling into the Dungeon Master persona. We last left our heroes, Miv the Meddling, trapped the great elven wizard Vernan, and the halfling fighter Tyros in a dungeon filled to the brim with puzzles, riddles, and brain teasers. Oh no, I don't do puzzles, riddles, and brain teasers. I do negative intelligence, dumbass stab people fight. To reach Miv and end this journey once and for all, They'll have to brave the dungeon's mysteries and escape with their lives intact. Dipper sets 2 figurines side by side on the game board. One is an imposing figure in flowing robes, and the other is a much shorter in comparison, but posed with a will to prove himself. You suppose the former is Vernan and the latter is Tyros. I don't know how to pronounce them. But what would our 2 heroes find in the first room of the dungeon but a potential ally? Just as trapped as they are, who will join them in their quest for freedom? Dipper places 3 figurines on the carpet, just off the side of the game board. You get to choose your character now, boo-boo. Okay. Human, bard, dwarf fighter, orc rogue. Oh, I hate all of these. Because if I'm playing a bard, I'm not going to play a horny bard. Which means I can't get in Stan's pants. Dwarf fighter, that seems kind of boring. I love rogues, but... I gotta go with spellcaster. Bards use invigorating song to encourage their allies with the blow of their insults to damage their enemies. I've kind of re-evaluated my stance on bards lately. You'll come in handy if we encounter any undead. Will we? Maybe. Hey, stop trying to play ahead. Be a human bard? Sure. Can I start with a feat? I have an idea for a bard character who starts with the ritual caster feat, so I can have a monkey familiar. And then we, do a little ditty together. Dipper moves on your figurine onto the board beside Vernan and Tyros. Alright, what's their name going to be? Alex, short for... My fucking name is Alex. Alexandrios. I'm just gonna go with Alex. I'll just call them Alex. Here's your character sheet. It's got all the info on it. Ahem. Our heroes encounter Alexandrios, Alex for short, in the first room of the dungeon. Alex, what's your deal with our main villain, Miv the Meddling? Miv murdered my family and now I seek revenge? Miv promised me eternal glory but left a dagger in my back instead. I just woke up here with a headache. Ford, help me! Okay. Attributes? Does it give me... Oh, it gives me a character sheet. Okay, I love this. What's my character? Got that charisma and that dex. I have a lot of intelligence for a bard. A wizard. That's good intelligence and con. Perfect. Halfling fighter. Nice strength. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Inventory. I have a loot, candles, costumes. This looks like a... Yep, that's a bard's inventory right there. Now, I've got 2 ways I can go about this. I can impress Ford with my ability to come up with a backstory on the fly. Because I would love the eternal glory, but left a dagger in my back instead. Or I can go to Ford, have him help me, and maybe, he'd appreciate that because he's cool. If I was in this situation, I would try to impress. I'm going to go with this one. Alex explains how he struck Miv's ire, and in turn, Tyros shares that Miv once bested him in a duel. An embarrassment, because Miv is a sorcerer, and sorcerers aren't known for their physical combat skills. In Tyros' defense, he was still young at the time. But none of this matters, because to finally face down Miv, they must escape. Oh. He drew this? Oh. I like those. Proceed with caution, homies. Alright. Behind you is a plain door on the far wall of the room. There's a set of red doors, and to the left and right are old stained glass windows with weirdly familiar motifs on them. Having woken up here with no recollection of getting here at all, you have no way of knowing which door you came in, should go out of, or even what direction you should head in at all. And now you guys decide what you want to do. You might want to look around first. And by that, of course, we mean rolling a dice to see if we notice anything. The outcome of nearly every substantial choice we make is tied to a roll of a dice. I'll let you choose what to do here. Then I will take a look around. What's my wisdom like? Not very good. I don't see shit. Oh, what? Hang on. Go back. Ford shows you what to roll for the investigation? That's not looking around. That's combing through shit. That's fine. I have a higher intelligence anyway. And Dipper flips through his notebook, ready to tell you what you see. Huh, nice roll. Tacked to one of the walls in this room is a note that reads, "Proceed with caution, homies." Tyros pockets the note. In the distance, you hear a faint sound of rushing water. What do you do next? What's the state of the door behind us? See for yourself. I'm still the DM. I can't respond unless you check the door. Ford casts Detect Magic, good man, and after confirming with Dipper that there is no magic behind the door, pushes it open. The three of you weave through the door. Nice. As the last of you step through the doorway, it melts, seeping into the wall as if it were never there. Guess we're not going back that way. The chandelier overhead ignites, casting the room in a warm orange glow and revealing an impressive door on the far wall. In front of us, it is a large cloth-covered lump. I could head straight for the door, trigger a trap, and have Ford save me, and I fall lovingly in his arms. Or I can impress him with how smart I am to take a look first. He would appreciate the brains. We're going to take a look. Investigation, just like earlier. As your footsteps grow nearer, the lump shifts, rising to reveal that it is in fact a goblin. The goblin stands to attention and tries to pretend it was never asleep. Travelers, I notice thee and demand you answer these riddles 3. Attack! I stab the goblin. Insult. Oh, you say the actual insult you're going to use? I would, but it's not kid-friendly. Dipper makes a half-horrified face, but Ford laughs. Dipper, how about Boo Boo tells me and I be the judge? I'll be completely impartial. Dipper seems like he's trying to think up a non-kid-friendly insult himself when he gives Ford the go-ahead. And you write your finely crafted insult on paper and hand it to Ford. He raises a brow. Not bad. Half damage, but with a chance to score a critical hit. Take the D38 and D10. Definitive. Breaks down into tears and vanishes. As if he... Was the D10 damage? Because that's a lot for a vicious mockery attack. And as if he'd been teleported out there. With the goblin gone, all that remains is the door. Cast Detect Magic on the door. That should still be up. It hasn't been 10 minutes, man. I don't know how Dungeons and More Dungeons work, so I assume it's more like Dungeons & Dragons. The dungeon is steeped in magical energy. You suspect it's what's been keeping the door closed. You follow the energy back to the source. A brass knocker in the shape of a lion's head, which begins speaking. To unlock what lies beyond, tell me, what is it you desire? Which one of us is it talking to? Looks past Vernon and Tyros and towards Alex. Its eyes glowing ruby red. What is it you desire? I desire power. As the lion's head disappears and you feel strange, like you've been tapped into some hidden power of yours. Beside you, Vernon and Tyros feel a little off balance. You get a +2 modifier to attack rolls from the lion's head, granting you your desire, but it gave both... No! I don't want to do that, but I don't want to go back. He's still fine with it. The door swings open and Vernon, Tyros, and Alex step forward into the next room. As soon as you enter this next room, the wall melds over the doorway, sealing you in. Glancing around, the far wall of the room seems to be a different material and color than the rest, though it could just be the lighting. To the left, you see rows of orbs asphyxiated to the wall. I'll do the wall, because I bet Ford's going to want to do the orbs. You look at it and confirm it's a different color than the rest. Can I knock on it? You see Dipper give you a small smile, knowing what you're looking for. You knock along the wall and find that one section sounds hollow. As soon as you realize that, the next knock opens up a gap in the wall, which reveals itself to be a door. I'm going to stay where I am and inspect the orbs. After inspecting and interacting with the orbs, I'm being such a fucking table hog. Let Ford and the fighter do some stuff. After inspecting and interacting with the orbs for a few minutes, you come to realize a few things. There are 26 orbs. You can touch them to make them glow. You can only touch 6 of the orbs at a time, and once 7 are touched, all orbs fade to their original color. Each orb is labeled with integers that run consecutively from 1 to 26, starting from the leftmost orb. Looks like we need a password for this one, boo-boo. The puzzle is fair. It must be a word we've already been introduced to. One that stands out. Think back to the note. from the first room of the dungeon. What was the word again? I remember what that word. It was proceed, right? Homies. Spell out homies and all the orbs. Illuminate in unison and disappear. The room rumbles and you turn around to find a green glass door. Walking up to get a closer look, you see the engraved on the door is a riddle. The door reads, if you go into the green glass door, you can bring a ball, but not a bat. You can bring a book, but you can't bring a novel. You can bring coffee, but not tea. You can bring letters, but you can't bring numbers. If you wish to pass, you must present an acceptable offering. Interesting one, Dipper. Let's think. A ball, but not a bat. I think I understand, Boo Boo. What could you bring through the door? What? I'm dumb? It'd be a jade. No? Jade is green, and it's a green glass door. It's a glass door, and I have an hourglass. I'm reading too much into this, I think. I'm dumb. I don't like puzzles in games because I'm too dumb for this shit. Okay, bring a ball, but not a bat. Bring a book. Can't bring a novel. Bring coffee, but not tea. Letters, not numbers. I offer my Baron's Book of Spells. And Tyros offers his cutlass. The door dissolves, letting the party pass through. I don't know what just happened. Did I pick right? I don't know. While Dipper's flipping through his notebook for the next part of the dungeon, Ford nudges you, holding up a hand for a high 6. That was a nice job, Boo Boo. I'm impressed you got the riddle. I didn't realize I got that riddle. Is it hot in here, or is it just a side effect of the green glass door disintegrating? You high 6 forward, beaming as Dipper finds the page and needs to continue the game. The green glass door swings open. You go through to freedom, and there it is, the end of the dungeon. I cut it down a bit on the fly. I didn't want to make it too long. I would have ran a murder mystery I've had it planned out for ages, but my test runs have never gone very well with my focus group. So, what did you think? What happens next? When do we fight the sorcerer? This was actually a transition into the next super plot-centric campaign about infiltrating the sorcerer's tower castle. Dipper shows you a couple pages of his campaign book, which looks to be filled with various dungeon sketches with realistic physics calculations crowded into every square. Well, Dipper, I think you did well. It's not easy adding in an extra player on short notice like that. I always write it in just in case. Not completely, but just a few notes. And he only has one player. Ford and Dipper launch into a conversation about dungeon mastering as they clean up the DDAMD setup, returning the game components to their original glossy fantasy box. They're too fast in practice for you to figure out how to help, so you just pick up the dice Ford lent to you and return them to their original velvet bag. Excuse me. Dipper leaves to put the DDAMD box back upstairs, and then it's just you and Ford. Excuse me. Boo Boo, you did well for a first timer. I take you into the dungeon with me. I mean, I know what you mean. I know. Gives you an embarrassed smile, but you're already smiling at him yourself. I would love to go into a dungeon with you. A call comes from the kitchen, from what sounds like Stan. Haha, well, I'd talk more, but I'd better see what he needs. Ford moves past you, heading towards the kitchen. You suddenly feel the need to hold on to this moment, like you need to say something. Ford? Yes? You don't remember. Is this where I say I love you? Oh, here's your set of dice back. Thanks for letting me use it. Ford chuckles, shaking his head. He has gold-plated dice, and those aren't the first set he uses. I just realized that. No, you keep it in case you decide to join us next time. I'm gonna have to buy a set of these gold dice. Oh my god. It's like you were made for each other. Marry me, Ford. Do I want to keep going? I think I do want to keep going. It's an extra long episode. Fuck it. Someone thumps their fist on the storage door room, stirring you from sleep with a jolt and a thud as you fall off the mattress. Scrambling to your feet, you step over to the door and swing it wide open. Poo-Poo, I need your help! It's at that moment you look down to see Waddles swaddled in her arms, wearing a top hat and a small bow tie. Why is Waddles looking so dapper? He always looks dapper. He does look pretty dashing, doesn't he? Wait, we're not here to dish out compliments. This is an emergency. A love emergency. Mabel stares up at you with wide eyes, her little arms unmoving as Waddle attempts to wriggle free from her grasp. The kid's stronger than she looks. Knowing Mabel, this could mean she has a new crush. From what Dipper's told you, she's still deeply rooted in her boy-crazy phase, or she's desperately wants to wed Waddles to some unsuspecting critter outside. Waddles and Gompers are renewing their vows today, and I can't find Gompers to put his gown on. You gotta help me find him. You weren't actually expecting your second guess to be right. Okay, wait, Mabel, just calm down for a second. But we have to find Gompers. The ceremony's in 20 minutes. Waddles wriggles himself free and runs down the hallway to freedom, ignoring Mabel's shriek of protest as she chases him. You're compelled to go back to bed, deciding this is almost definitely a dream, but chalk after Mabel regardless. You catch sight of Mabel just as she leaps over Dipper, who's sitting on the floor with a large array of graph paper and chewed pencils. Are we doing DDAMD today? She runs to the back door, suspiciously open after Waddle snorting himself, yelling at him not to lose his tie. Mabel, what's going on? Waddle, sweating, Gompers? You're a little out of breath. Mabel's fast. Dipper smacks a hand to his forehead, dragging it down his face dramatically. Of course, she told me they're renewing vows or something. They got married last summer, but she misses the pizzazz of weddings. Dipper looks nonplussed, but you can tell he's at least a little invested. Are you gonna help her with whatever that was? I don't even want to imagine this marriage failing. And with that, you run past him. Dipper stutters, of surprise growing fainter as you head outside. Mabel's already a ways away when you burst into the shack's backyard. Fortunately, Stan and Ford are nowhere in sight. You're not sure what you'd think of them finding you searching for a goat bride, as Mabel calls out to lure Gompers home. Come on, Gompers, I already booked the second honeymoon and the caterers are gonna be mad. Runaway brides are so cliche. She's seriously invested in this farm critter marriage. That or she's watched way too many dramatic romance movies, or both. The same though? Gompers, come on, goat pal, where are you? You hear Dipper head towards Mabel to help look, see you veer opposite, opting to cover more ground in search of the runaway goat bride. He's on the roof, isn't he? Under the fountain. On the roof. You walk backwards and put a hand to your brow, shielding your eyes from the sun as you search the scaffolding of the shack. Nothing. Damn. You continue walking to the side until rays of sunlight obscure the view above the sign for the gift shop. The art of this is so fucking cute. I don't think I've mentioned that. I love all the art here. Where was I? Rather serendipitously? I don't, that wasn't pronounced correctly. A cloud glides overhead to block the sun, and you're able to look up higher, seeing the misspelled lettering, the various wear and tear in the roof, and a small billy goat munching on part of the weather vane. Wait. Hey, Mabel. Yeah? You point up the roof at Gompers. Here comes the bride. Mabel shrieks Gompers and sprints into the gift shop, slamming the door so hard the open sign flips to close. There's silence for a moment, then something flips open on the roof's small balcony, and Mabel pops out from underneath, climbing onto the roof and attempting to coax Gompers down. There's a ladder up to the balcony thing inside the gift shop. It's pretty cool for fireworks. Mabel pulls a sandwich from her sleeve. You can't help but imagine what else she has up there, and waves it in Gompers' direction. And he trots towards the balcony, hopping down to Mabel's level and snatching the sandwich from her hand. She grabs the goat and heads back down the ladder into the gift shop. Oh, Gompers, you can't get the pre-wedding jitters anymore. You're already married. You can't get away that easily. Thanks a billion, Boo Boo. You saved the wedding. Do I get an invitation to the wedding? And with that, Mabel gets to work on wrestling Gompers into his dress, yelling commands to Dipper to grab Waddles, who thankfully didn't get his bow tie dirty when he dashed away earlier, and get everything ready for the most important ceremony in the history of ever. Maybe an exaggeration, but Mabel's excitement is undoubtedly contagious. Okay, once Dip finds Waddles, I think we got everything ready. I am, of course. The Vicar Caterer Proud Mother musical guest combo. Dipper's gonna take pictures for my scrapbook. I never agreed to that. I'll take pictures. Dipper, please. I've got to officiate. Officiate. Okay, I got you. See, I'm so busy I can't even talk right. Please, Dipper. I'll help you with some nerd thing later. I pinky swear. Dipper contemplates this, hand at his chin, mirroring his Grunkle Ford, of course. As long as you actually do this time, then yeah, I'll take pictures. Mabel jumps up and down with excitement, jostling poor Gompels in her arms. Yay, thank you, Dipper. I owe you one. This is what the best brother looks like right here, Boo-Boo. Haha. Okay, you don't have to do that whole thing again. I'll get back to it. Waddles, get back here. Okay, now that we have that fixed, that means we wait. Seuss left already? My ring bearer's gone? Oh no, what are we gonna do, Gompers? Gompers gives the intelligent answer of bah, chewing his bridal veil. I could ask him, but I don't know. Gompers chooses that moment to look into Mabel's eyes and plead at her insistently. Mabel naturally takes this as a sign from Goat. You're right, of course. This is your special day again. Mabel turns to you with pleading eyes. Hey, Poo-Boo, could you be the new ring bearer for this ceremony? It would give me no greater honor. I'm very invested in this partnership, Mabel. I gotta see it through. Mabel beams, obviously very pleased you're taking this as seriously as she is. Thank you, Boo-Boo. Let's get this show on the road, or this wedding on the backyard. It still works. Mabel runs back into the house, and you hear her thudding upstairs faster than a hungry Waddles. Gompers, thankfully, still occupied by this half a sandwich Mabel taunted him with, stays put. She comes back soon after with a fluffy purple pillow and 2 clear sticks. After snapping the snakes in half, glow sticks, she curls them into a small bracelet-sized rings. These are so much more fun than rings, plus Waddles can put it on his tails to look super handsome. I would love to get married with glow stick, like, bands. Like, if they made rings that small, like, glow stick rings that small, that's what I'm going to propose to someone with. Waddles oinks in agreement in his mad dash out of the house. He's lost his top hat. Hold your hands out, palm up, and get down so you're not as tall. They can't put the rings on each other if you're way up there. She's got a point. You duck to your knees in the dirt, and Mabel turns your hands, palm up, overtly placing the pillow and the glow stick rings atop them. Okay, Mabel, I'm here with the camera for... Boo-Boo, why are you on the ground? You gesture to the happy couple with a wide arc of your arm. They needed a ring bearer. Well, I guess they do. Mabel nods, small hands on her hips. She looks over the wedding scene and mumbles to herself, checking things off a mental checklist. Okay, I think we have... Wait! I forgot the flower petals. I'll be right back. And she's gone again, leaving you alone with a pig groom, a goat bride, and 2 glow stick bands of matrimony. Goatrimony. That kind of works. You decide not to crack that pun on Dipper, who's examining his disposable camera. He pops the back open and sighs, smacking it into his forehead. This one's out of film. It must have been the one Mabel used at Candy's party. He looks up to you and shrugs. I'll go get one of my spares. Make sure these 2 don't go anywhere, or Mabel will... Well, you know Mabel. You haven't known Mabel as long as Dipper has, but you understand immediately. You're left alone in the backyard with a groom's pig, a bride goat, 2 glow sticks, and a broken disposable camera. Well, you'd love to say you've absolutely been in this situation before. You unfortunately have not. Don't tell me how I live my life game. I mean, this just sounds like a normal Friday. I really am happy for you both, Waddles and Gompers. I just wish that was me and Ford. Both animals turn to you, nonchalant to the current state of events. But I can't believe Mabel forgot the flower petals. Jeez. Just as you go to continue the one-sided conversation between human, goat, and pig, you hear two voices coming from around the house. Two very familiar voices. Are those the Stans? Listen, Sixer, if you hadn't gone off about the wobbly junker, the gobblewonker, Stanley, has Dipper really never told you? Then you wouldn't have freaked out the kid at the store we needed, and we'd have, oh, I don't know, the stuff to fix my house after you got a car stuck in it. It's still my house, and besides, if he was a fisherman, he needed to know. Both Stan and Ford round the corner to find you sitting on your heels next to Waddles and Gompers, brandishing a pillow and glow sticks in the dirt. The three of you stare at each other in silence. Mabel needed a ring bearer for her wedding. It's at that moment that Mabel kicks down the back door, runs to your side, and throws rose petals atop your head. Ta-da! You blow a rose petal off the tip of your nose and grin at Mabel. I think our bride and groom are ready to renew their vows, don't you? Mabel nods emphatically at you, but before turning to her grunkles, lighting up a 100-watt smile. Yes, Grunkle Stan, Grunkle Ford, you guys got back just in time. And just like that, Mabel pushes Stan and Ford towards you, tugs their hands so they sit across from you. Stan complains about his knees, and Ford asks Dipper exactly why the pig and goat are betrothed. Fits with what you know about both at this point. Mabel makes way with the wedding, and you sit cross-legged. The pillow and glow stick rings on your lap. Every so often, Mabel stifles a theatrical sob, wiping a very real tear from her eye, before she turns to you for the rings. Oh, Mabel, how should the betrothed wear the rings, since they don't have ring fingers? Just put them where you think they'll fit best. And they're... This is the hardest choice I've had to make ever in life. She mentioned the tail earlier. I'm gonna go with Waddle's tail. You get up and promptly crouch down in front of Waddles and Gompers, playing your ring bearer part very seriously. A glow stick ring goes on top of onto one of Gomper's horns, and you place the other on Wample's rear, hanging off of his curly Q tail. I now pronounce you husband and husband again. You may now kiss the goat. Waddle sniffs at Gompers and snorts. That definitely counts. Dipper reappears with a new camera, and Mabel throws more rose petals at him. A few get stuck to his fluffy hat, and he rolls his eyes, but retaliates by taking a very close-up picture, the flash temporarily blinding her. Hey, save the film for the re-newlyweds. I need plenty of pictures for my scrapbook. You owe me a new camera for this, Mabel. He sounds annoyed, but his fond sibling smile gives him away, and he starts taking pictures of the happy couple, getting odd angles as Mabel pushes them into silly poses. You step away from the scene and go to head back into the house. Being a ring bearer is thirsty work, but Stan and Ford stop you before you make it to the door. Hey, Boo Boo, thanks for playing along with Mabel on the whole wedding thing. That wedding was adorable. And they deserve to be together. We're both glad you're willing to entertain her whenever we're gone. She didn't, make you do it, did she? Oh, she didn't. She needed a ring bearer, so I stepped up to help, as a real man would. Stan and Ford arc matching brows at you. I'm very invested in the marriage of a goat and a pig, you know. The three of you laugh, and Stan pats your shoulder. Ford gives you a warm smile. Well, I'm glad you're as into it all that as she is. Did I read that properly? Well, I'm glad you're as into it all that as she is. Thank you for that. Yeah, kid, it's nice of you to be nicer, you know. You should be a dick to everyone except for Ford. Ford takes a step forward on the patio, peering down at you through his cracked glasses. You'd be somewhat intimidated if it wasn't for the fact that he's blushing. I appreciate that you occupy the kids for Stanley and I while we were out. Both of them seem to like you being around. You grin at him with a shrug. It's no problem. They're fun to hang out with, even if I'm gonna have some strange photos in Mabel's scrapbook at the end of it. Ford smiles, sweet and almost kind. It's your turn to turn red when he looks at you like that. Well, if you'll excuse me, I've got, things to get back to. Yes. He walks past you and into the house, Stan following soon after. Stan elbows forward and it looks like he mutters something to him, but you can't hear what it is. He said, Ford looks scandalized. Hey, Boo-Boo, you're gonna miss the party. We got popsicles. I call the red ones. Pineapple ones are mine. I call dibs. The pineapple ones are the best ones. Mabel and Stan wrestle over a yellow popsicle while Dipper contently unwraps a red one, holding it above his head and out of the way. Copper's way, Ford gingerly picks out a purple ice pop and leaves the ice chest open for you to grab one as well. Oh, what did I just press? I think I pressed quick save. I didn't mean to. Stan and Mabel aren't looking. You hide the pineapple popsicles at the bottom of the chest. Dipper sees and starts laughing but doesn't tell. They're a strange bunch, these two sets of pine twins, but they're certainly making your summer a lot more exciting as your stay at the Mystery Shack continues, your wreck of a car sitting outside in the heat of the setting sun. It's another day of summer, with nothing to do but wait. Your schedule is surprisingly clear today. Ford usually has something going on for you to help with, and if not, Stan, Seuss, or the kids do. Who do you want to find? It's gotta be Ford. I mean, yeah, I gotta go with Ford. You pass through the living room and Mabel spots you from her seat at the table. Boo-Boo, I was hoping I'd see you. Come on, I want to ask you something. What's up, Mabel? Mabel points down at the table with a raspberry pink colored pencil. Her art supplies scattered across the table lie across various sheets of paper with brightly colored doodles and lots of glitter. You see a drawing that looks like a cross between Barney and Godzilla, a page full of puppies, and a page with a drawing that kind of looks like you. Is that Ford or Stan? Mabel's not finished with it yet, but the telltale jawline gives it away. You sit down at the table across from Mabel and suddenly get the same feeling you get at a job interview. It's intensified when she pushes her organized chaos of papers aside and steeples her fingers towards the table's surface. Boo-Boo, I'll be frank. I've been trying to find a match for my grunkles for a while. I never seem to get their matches made. Sorry, a match? But then it's like you were pulled from thin air, attracted to the shack by a magnet of love. It was a sign, and this week just made the chemistry you share with him obvious. You know who I'm talking about, right? Ford. I'm sure if I was romancing both at the same time, I'd have a choice there. Yes. Grunkle Ford's great with family, but he's still guarded. You're the first new person I've seen actually get interested in. Maybe if you get to know him, he'll see that social interactions aren't so hard, and maybe love was on the horizon all along. Love? That's a jump to say the least. Love? I love Ford, and I wish Ford loves me. So I'll do whatever it takes to get him to love again. Anyway, though you've had the chance to share some quality time with Ford, you still feel like there's a huge part of his story that you're missing. How much do you even know about him anyway? And why do you want to know so much more? Mabel, Ford and I haven't spent all that much time together. Sure, we shared a couple adventures, but nothing. Adventures are the perfect bonding material. I know that firsthand. But you know what would really get his chemistry going? What? Please, tell me. I'm thinking of something more romantic. Hold on, I'm getting an idea. I'll get everything ready. Boo-Boo, you just focus on falling completely and utterly in love. On it. Already done. The matchmaker Mabel is back in the game. Just as you exit the talk with Mabel, you run into Dipper right outside the living room. And it doesn't seem like an accident either. His arms are crossed and he's looking at you dubiously. So I heard about Mabel's plan. I just left the room. Yeah, well, word travels fast, and Mabel sends out mass update texts. His defensive posture softens a bit. Just tell me one thing. I know my grunkles can look after themselves, but can you promise you won't hurt Ford? I would never. You can trust... What does that mean? Oh no. How do I respond to this? You can trust me? Okay, Boo-Boo, I'm remembering that. A text notification sounds and Dipper checks his phone. And be ready at any time for your date with Grunkle Ford. Yes! This feels awkward enough. No offense, Boo-Boo. It's just my Grunkle Ford actually going on a date? Do old people even date? Kind of hard to wrap my head around. I hope Mabel doesn't ask me for help tomorrow. I mean, I have enough trouble trying to date for myself. Same, buddy. Mabel calls from upstairs. Hey, Dip Dop, I'm going to need your help tomorrow. Well, never mind. Should have ran when he had the chance. During the next few days, you, Ford, and Dipper get further into the DD and AMD campaign you left off on. You have time to flesh Alex out to complement Tyros and Vernan on the team. Dipper tells you the 3-person troop is typically small for a DD and MD group, but you've been getting the hang of the game, mostly from taking advantage of Ford's helpful nudges in the right direction. You've noticed Ford staring at you during the game sometimes, and you can't deny that you've been caught doing the same. After your fateful chat with Mabel, you're on edge and wait for her to pull something out of her sleeve. Every time she bursts into a room with fistfuls of crayons, you jump at least a foot in the air. But you've been doing your best to pretend everything's normal, at least as normal as it gets in Gravity Falls. You ventured into town earlier today and did some tourist-worthy exploring and ran into the Pines family at Greasy's Diner about an hour later. According to a giddy Dipper and an exasperated Ford, a door to another planet appeared in the fridge instead of food. Post-documentation and inspection and lots of skeptical squinting from Dipper and complaints from Stan, Ford had a suggestion they all just wait it out. It was gone by the time you got back. You secretly hoped to catch a glimpse, but when you asked Ford about it, he assured you it was nothing special. Wouldn't have even ranked among us top 10, he'd said, pushing his glasses up on his nose. After that series of fridge-related events, the shack fell quiet. Dipper ventured out with his camera equipment, off to film something amazing, and stands in his office checking in with his sources, whatever that means. That leaves you and Ford, both intently reading on the shack's patio. What am I reading? It's warm and comfortable, yet the overhang shields your eyes from the blinding summer sunlight. You glance over at Ford. He looks calm and collected, same as he's been all week. Conversely, you've been a little nervous around him ever since Mabel's matchmaking interview. It's not that you haven't thought of him in that light before, it's you never planned on actually trying it out. You can always ask Mabel to call off the matchmaking thing. After spending the past couple of days convinced that Mabel was going to spring an unavoidable romantic situation on you at a moment's notice, you'd rather not live with that kind of anxious anticipation. You settle back into your book, a paperback Ford lent you. It's a jargon-heavy sci-fi with an abstract cover you probably would have overlooked on a bookshelf, and you think you're about to see the first glimpse of the plot after a 3-chapter introduction. You go to turn the page of your book, but the back door slams open. Mabel explodes onto the porch, armed with oven mitts and an apron. Boo-boo, Grunkle Ford, I need help, and I need it now. Ford sits up with a wide-eyed look, fixing his glasses that have been startled off the bridge of his nose. Is something burning? Is something burning in the kitchen? I need help baking. Am I gonna bake with Ford? Ford relaxes enough to leave a bookmark in his dog-eared novel and close it, but looks to Mabel with an air of bewilderment. Grenda's throwing a Gruß dich Hasenfursten, I didn't pronounce the last one right, party for Marius when he comes to visit, and I volunteered to make cupcakes. I was like, yeah, I can totally bake a batch of cupcakes, but as it turns out, smoke unfurls from the back doorway, inevitably followed by the screech of the fire alarm inside. Mabel wrings her mitted hands and winces guiltily. I can't. Mabel rushes back into the house, you and Ford coming close after. You reach the door in time to see Ford, unruffled, drag a chair over to the smoke detector and disable it as easily as flipping a light switch. As for the smoke, you go straight for the kitchen window and open it, fanning the smoke out of the house. Mabel looks guiltily at you both, attempting to waft the smoke out with her oven mitts. Now that you really look at her, you notice there's flour on her sweater and the kitchen floor and the kitchen counter, leading to one lopsided bag of flour surrounded by a similar mess of ingredients. Looks like you can use a hand, Mabel. Why didn't you ask for help so much sooner? I'm sorry, Grunkle Ford. I wanted to make them myself. She welts under exasperated despair. But I need these cupcakes, and I need your help. She points at Ford, and your help. Mabel then moves her pointer finger to you. Oh dear. Both of you absolutely need to help me with this. She hooks between the two of you with those Mabel-patented puppy dog eyes, and whatever will you had left to resist crumbles immediately. You pat her shoulder reassuringly. It's alright, Mabel. Baking is a difficult art, and even professionals have off days, and, you glance over at the oven that's still leaking lingering smoke. I think adult supervision might be a good thing right now. Mabel nods, looking between you and Ford. Well, it'd be easy peasy with you and Grunkle Ford helping me. You look to Ford, and Ford just looks questioningly to Mabel. Why would you need both of us, Mabel? Why wouldn't she? Because we need to make like a bajillion of these. So many. This is a huge party. Plus, the more people that make them, the more love these cupcakes will have. There needs to be so much love. I'm gonna fill these cupcakes with so much love. That doesn't please Grunkle Ford. You and Boo Boo are super conveniently the only ones who can help me. Maybe Dipper, he's out filming. He won't be back till sunset. It's gotta be you two. Ford glances hopelessly out to the hallway for one moment, and Mabel gives you a conspiratorial wink while he's not looking, and then it dawns on you. This is your match-made date with Ford. Is it getting hot in here, or is it just the oven? It's the smoke that's filling my lungs. Please, 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 Grunkle Ford. Boo Boo is already gonna help out, right, Boo Boo? Yes, that's what I want. Heart picking up its pace, you hazard a look at Ford to find him oddly contemplative now compared to before. He looks to you for a fleeting moment, and you catch out the corner of your eye his attention's back on Mabel by the time you register, and Ford nods at her. Alright, what do we need to do? Yes, okay, first rule of baking, wear an apron. There's never a wrong time to make a fashion statement. Please tell me Ford puts on her apron. Pulls 2 aprons out, one in scarlet red and the other white. I have absolutely no idea you have absolutely no idea when Mabel even retrieved these aprons in the first place, but she's already picked out who gets which one. The red apron is tossed to you and the white one thrown to Ford. You put it on, look down at yourself to read an upside burn baby burn printed across your chest with a picture of a fiery girl beneath it. Fittingly, it smells like a little like burning. Ford apron has some green text you didn't quite catch, but as he loops it over his head and ties it, you can read it clearly. That's awesome. You stifle a laugh as you read, text out clear over his broad chest. My other oven is a Bunsen. I don't know what that means. I'm going for it. It only takes a second for Floor to flush pink with understanding, fiddling with the hem of his apron. I have no idea what that means. Okay. Mabel, what's our next step? The second rule of baking is to know your recipe. It's got everything, the ingredients, instructions, the temperature. Ford looks to the counter and picks up a piece of paper. You guess it's the recipe, judging by the frilly-looking photo of a 3-tiered cake on the back. He scans over the ingredients, focused. And the third rule in baking is to forget your recipe! But that's only if rule 2 doesn't work out. How are we looking, Grunkle Ford? I was worried we'd be short on sugar, but I think we'll make it. Are we switching recipes, Mabel? There are ingredients listed here that aren't already on the counter. Mabel laughs loudly and attempts to clap Ford on the shoulder. She only manages to reach his elbow. And you suddenly suspect that whatever baked good Mabel had burned in the oven either earlier was a fabricated failure. You glance at the stovetop. The open box of store-bought cookies sitting on top confirms your suspicion. Oh, Grunkle Ford, you tell the best jokes. That wasn't a joke. Oh, look, we need flour, and I already have that one out. Next. Ford reads the list of ingredients aloud, and Mabel darts around the kitchen, gathering them as he calls them out. You set to work finding the utensils. Mabel needs, searching through unfamiliar drawers she points out to you. After opening nearly every cupboard, you come up with an array of mismatched measuring cups, 2 half teaspoons, and a dented tablespoon. Good enough. How many cupcakes do you need for tomorrow, Mabel? At least 100. Give her an undisguised look at incredulity. I don't know how to pronounce that word. And Mabel sends back a series of gestures telling you to go along with it, pointing at Ford's thoughtful face and mouthing he bought it. Number 1 tip to dating is to lie to your partner as much as you can. So since the recipe makes 20 to 25, we quintuple. You do either one. I would say Mabel wants to quintuple the recipe. Exactly what I was thinking. If we play our cards right, we can get exactly 120, making full use of the cupcake pan each time. I didn't even think about the cupcake pan. You're bewildered that Ford doesn't question the quantity. Instead, he's starting to factor in how many acceptable cupcake pans he can find in the cupboards. grumbling as he searches through the clangs and dull thuds of other bakeware. Oof. Oof. When is the last time Stanley... Ah, there they are. Looks like we have one that's rusted and one that hasn't. Excuse me. Boo Boo, get the pan that's already in the oven. If we can manage to clean... Excuse me. No, definitely uncleanable. It's totally burned. Batter everywhere. Boo Boo, can you... Mabel makes gestures to disposing evidence of her baking failure, and you wince but nod. Seizing your chance while Ford's back is turned, you open the oven, grab whatever's inside with the oven mitt, and rush outside to drop in the trash can midway around the shack. Like I said, you gotta lie to your partner, like, as much as you can. That's how you really, you know, you get your hook in there, you know? It turns out to be a couple store-bought cookies dropped in a muffin pan and left to burn to a crisp. You shake the cookies out into the trash, leaving you with a still hot but perfectly serviceable pan. Take the pan back and call it a miracle, because you really... Or I don't want to, like, make Mabel mad at me. The less pans we have, the more baking I get to do with Ford, and like I said, you know, I love Ford. I gotta have more time with him. You return to the kitchen. Yeah, that pan was definitely not salvageable. Complete toast. Ford chuckles, and when he turns back to the recipe, Mabel gives you a winning smile and 2 thumbs up. You see that Ford has brought a mixing bowl out while you were gone and wiped away most of the excess flour from the counter. He settles back into the role of recipe reader now that you're back. I've already turned down the oven to the correct temperature. Mabel notably doesn't look sheepish in the slightest, still grinning in front of the mixing bowl. So our next step is to add butter. I'll measure it out. What kind of cupcakes are you making? I'll measure it out. And so you settle into a rhythm. Mabel measures ingredients and tosses them in. Ford reads out the recipe, pausing occasionally to balance out Mabel's haphazard method of throwing ingredients to the bowl, and he makes everything into a suitable batter. 2 ingredients later, you notice that Ford rolled his sleeves up to his elbows as he works. You could use the side of him like this, hell yeah. You don't notice Ford returning your stare until he clears his throat. Apparently your ogling lasted just a moment too long. Boo Boo? Yeah? I just added the first cup of flour. You can stir it in now. Oh, right. Ford adds another cup as you stir the ingredients together, trying to ignore how red your face feels. Oh, look at you two working so well together. It's like you don't even need me to be perfect. You know she's talking about the matchmaking, but Ford doesn't take it that way. That's not entirely accurate. You're an essential member of our baking trio. After all, who else is creative enough to come with a unifying theme for all these cupcakes? You're right, I hadn't even thought about that yet. Mabel, standing on a chair next to Ford to reach the counter, hops up and sits at the edge of the counter. Lovey-dovey or lovey-dovey? Guy, I can't decide. While Mabel works it out with her creative genius, Ford scoops out the last cup of flour, going to wipe the excess back into the bag with his finger. Wait, I have the perfect idea. She lifts her arm in triumph and promptly sends Ford's heaped cup of flour flying. Ford fumbles to catch it, but ultimately fails, and the cup, along with the bag, fall into the mixing bowl, sending a mushroom cloud of flour into your faces. I need a fucking drink. Hang on. Much better. Flour cakes Ford's glasses along with his nose, cheeks, and forehead, and the front of his hair to the point where the color is indistinguishable from a usual streak of gray. Mabel, thankfully sitting to the side of her perch on the counter, only got half covered in the explosion of flour, even though she's already got various spots of flour all over her sweater. Oops. It's okay, Mabel. Here, take this and dust the flour off. Mabel attempts to brush flour off her sweater as Ford takes off his glasses, blowing puffs of white from the lenses and wiping them clean with the hem of his turtleneck. He manages to clear most of the flour off his skin, but he missed a spot. Ford? It's fine. I've had many messier adventures in my time than a bit of flour. No, that's not it. Brush his hair out yourself. You reach over to brush it out, give you an uncertain expression, stand still, letting you make contact. Your fingers only run through his hair for a second, but it was enough time for you to register how fluffy and flowery it is. Can't help the smile that tugs at your lips as you finish. You just had some flour there, did I? Mabel has stopped dusting herself off and is now looking between you and Ford with such anticipation. You're getting self-conscious under her attention. Ford seems to notice too because he takes an unnecessary step back and awkwardly clears his throat. Right, flower, mistake, let's fix it. Three of you take a moment to stare at the disaster zone on the counter. Looks like the only thing we could do now is guess how much flour is added and scale the amounts with the rest of the ingredients to match. I was going to start over, but that's a brilliant idea, Boo-Boo, let's do it. Mabel, do you have another bowl for this operation? Good thing I found this mega big bowl for mixing. Mabel presents a vessel more akin to a tub than a mixing bowl. It's clean though, and Ford transfer the batter over. Good call, Mabel. Are you secretly a psychic? Nope. It's just the whole thing I like to call the power of Mabel. She does exaggerated jazz hands, shaking more flour off in the process. The three of you laugh before beginning the post-flour mission. Due to the mishap, you now need 4 times the other ingredients to match the flour that got dumped into the bowl. An inconvenience, but not impossible. As you measure out more sugar, you spot Ford adding to the bowl by cracking 2 eggs at a time in each hand. Show off. The kitchen is quite quiet during the bustle of measuring, adding, and remixing, but after a couple of minutes, Mabel sighs. What's up, Mabel? I don't know, Boo-Boo. It feels silly to talk about. Nothing is too silly. Well, that's a broad statement. But the point is we're willing to listen. Well, Grenda and Marius are throwing his party on Marius' yacht, right? You have no idea who either of these people are, but play along for Mabel's sake. Yeah. They're really getting into that romance zone. Grenda even told me that they kissed. Only gives a mild acknowledgement, so you have to amp up the reaction zone. They did not. They did so. Can you believe that? I seriously cannot believe that. Ford looks lost as he continues to mix the batter together. And I'm really happy for Grenda. I am, but sometimes I feel a little jealous. Grenda's like one of my best friends. I don't get why I can't just be happy for her without feeling this way. You just have to let that feeling simmer inside you. Everyone feels like that sometimes. All you can do is try your best to stay positive for you, even if you're feeling a little bitter inside. I just know that eventually this feeling will pass. Really, everyone gets this way, even with friends. It doesn't mean you're a bad friend or anything. Thanks, Boo-Boo. And anyway, if this is about the romance, Mabel, you're only a teenager. You might feel like you're watching your friends get married and settle down so quickly, but that doesn't start happening until you get to 25. You're a wonderful girl. You're smart, pretty, and you can probably make a mean batch of cupcakes. I know that whoever you end up loving will be lucky to have you, and that perfect relationship will come your way in time. Mabel seems to brighten, and she smiles at you gratefully. Then she looks thoughtful. Getting married. I wonder when someone I know will get married. She nods specific, but Ford pointedly coughs into his fist. Please tell me this game ends with a marriage. I want to marry him. Wait, we need to make these cupcakes extra special before we can bake them. I thought they already were. Weren't we going to split this into 3 parts, add food coloring, and then marble them in? No, that's just special. I'm thinking extra special. I'm thinking explosive rocks. You mean that tiny candy that makes your mouth all tingly? No, like actual, like plastic explosives. Damn. Exactly, I'm gonna go grab my supply. Mabel dashes out to get the candy, leaving you and Ford alone in the kitchen. Oh, what a beautiful man. Normally you'd expect the atmosphere to turn awkward, but you find yourself anticipating something instead. You give Ford a smile. Good job calculating how much we needed to salvage the cupcakes. Ford laughs, leaning back against the counter. Oh, I just eyeballed it and adjusted based on the batter's apparent viscosity. No calculation involved. And well, I couldn't let all our hard work go to waste after you suggested salvaging it. I don't get it. You wanted to start over? Starting over meant more, hanging out with you. Well, I had a whole plan in mind. We were going to quintuple the recipe, and now it's more like octuple. But I think this was a better route to take. Now that I think about it, that was our last of our flour. Wait, damn, Stanley needs flour for pancakes this week. Will you take cupcakes for breakfast instead? We're gonna have plenty of extra. Knowing him, I think the probability is very high. We're about to say something else, leaning in to continue the conversation when Mabel re-enters the room. She's carrying a cardboard box stuffed to the brim with bright packets of explosion rocks. What was the magic the candy that she ate in the grocery store that like made her high? Let's put that in the cupcakes. I'm sure she has like That was an abandoned convenience store. Why didn't she take the whole box of that? I'm back. Alright, let's add these puppies in and make some cupcake magic. You and Ford start helping Mabel decant the explosion rocks into the batter. Ford glances at you as you shake the last packet into the bowl. Both of you knowing that the consumers of these cupcakes will get an unpleasant surprise from them exploding in their mouth, especially since the multicolored candy makes the batter look unassuming funfetti cupcakes. And then it's time to split the batter and marble them in the pan. The 3 colors Mabel chose are deep purple, blue, and pink, which she says ties in perfectly with her theme. So are you going to tell us what the theme is yet? Nope, let's get these in the oven. Ford picks up the pan and sticks it in the oven to bake. There's still plenty of batter in the mixing bowl. You've barely skimmed the surface with the first batch. You and Ford share another look. Alright, time for the best part, frosting. What kind do we have? It's not what kind I have, it's what kind are we making. I really want to make homemade frosting for a cake, because homemade frosting is the greatest. Mabel presents another recipe card. Oh geez, thankfully the frosting is far easier to make than the batter. By the time you and Mabel separate the sugary result into a few different bowls for coloring, the first batch of cupcakes came out of the oven 10 minutes ago and have cooled down on the counter. As Mabel puts it, they're ready to be Mabelified. Ford grins at her as she starts dyeing a bowl of icing bright pink. Decorating the cupcakes is by far the most fun part of the afternoon. The 3 of you sit around the kitchen table. Mabel purposefully sits you and Ford next to each other. No, if I'm on a date with Ford, I want to be in front of him so we can talk and look longingly into each other's eyes, and then maybe lean over and kiss. But you can't do that when you're sitting next to someone. I guess you can, but it's just more work, While she takes the remaining spot, you use different frosting tips to make designs on all the cupcakes. Mabel had finally revealed her theme to be outer space, because the space is full of romance, and this way I can say their compatibility is out of this world. So the 3 of you cover marbled cupcakes in a galaxy-worthy combination of frosting colors. Ford, to put it simply, is delighted by the theme. You're pretty sure the constellations he painstakingly iced on his last 25 cupcakes would pass as illustrations in a stargazer's guide. In the middle of completing a second Orion, Ford gets some icing on his face. A drip of blue somehow made it onto his chin, probably from testing the icing to make sure it tasted good. It did, of course. Mabel kicks you from under the table. Ow. Shh. And she nods her head at her grunkle, giving you a meaningful look that Ford completely misses. He wipes most of it off, but now there's a streak of blue on his cheek, so you wipe it off for him, of course. Mabel watches you both expectantly, but you aren't sure you have the guts to do what she really wants to happen. And besides, you're not sure Ford's ready for that. You opt for plan B instead. Here, I'll get it. You reach over with a napkin to gently wipe the streak away, hoping he doesn't notice how your hand shakes with nerves in close proximity. If anyone did that to me ever, no matter how much romantic feeling I had for them, I would, immediately panic. Just don't touch me. Don't touch my face. Please. Ford is also hyper aware of how close the 2 of you are now, and you can't ignore how his gaze drops from your eyes to your lips as you inch closer to wipe the icing away. There. I got it. Ford's cheeks almost match his sweater. Oh, thank you, boo-boo. Did I miss something? Okay, no. Eventually, the 3 of you finish decorating over 100 cupcakes. Looking at them all lined up on the counter, you can really see the decline in quality as you, Ford, and Mabel got worn out. The last few have frosting in solid colors, with just a handful of star-shaped sprinkles on top. I can't believe we're finally done. Yes, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I've had enough of the night sky to last me the rest of the week. Oh, but we're not done. Mabel sounds about as peppy as she has all day, even though she must be as tired as you and Ford. There's one last thing to do. Clean up, because we have a huge mess here? No, Corkle Ford, more important than that. More urgent, more desperately needed. Ford looks perplexed. What could that be? The glitter! You can't forget the glitter! Mabel pulls over a sizable tub of blue edible glitter. Coward, use the real shit. That you have been sitting at the back of the corner, at the counter for you, you're guessing. The whole afternoon you've been in here, unscrewing the lid reveals its sparkling, shiny contents. Each of you grab handfuls of glitter, sprinkling liberally over each cupcake. The only person who seems to be hesitating is Ford, who keeps stopping to attempt glitter gradients in order to keep his earlier icing clear of glitter. Mabel always comes in after him, though, and fills in the blanks so that the whole thing sparkles. Soon enough, the tub is left nearly empty. Great, all of these are for the party. Except this one's for Dipper, this one's for Grunkle Stan, this one's for Waddles. Mabel puts the exceptions aside, and in the end, the three of you grab a cupcake each as a reward for an afternoon's hard work. Tap them together in a pseudo toast and absolutely devour them. The cupcake tastes odd, but that's what makes it amazing. It's probably the explosion rocks you can detect. The faint spice of love and adoration. A good, if not perfect, cupcake. The remaining cupcakes are strategically fitted into the pantry among the cheese boodles and other various other snack foods, ready to be brought to the party tomorrow afternoon. Mabel stretches and yawns dramatically before grabbing the plate of cupcakes that have been set aside. Well, I better get these to the boys. You know how Grunkle Stan gets when he smells something cooking and doesn't get a taste. You're not quite sure you do, but Ford nods knowingly, so it must be true. Anyway, I'll leave you two lovebirds alone. Thanks for the help, and you're welcome for my help. Mabel sends a wink and a finger gun as she leaves. Your heart freezes in your chest as Ford looks at Mabel's exit with an unreadable look, then faces you. You see, I know what's going on. This isn't the first time. Oh no, am I getting rejected? This is the first time Mabel's tried to find my match. You can't find the words to express your mixture of relief and confusion, Ford explains. I suppose she's at that age where kids are thinking about romance and dating. Stanley and I are just two of her recent subjects for these compatibility experiments. Last time, Mabel reached out to Mermendo to set me up with a merman. She didn't tell me what kind of situation it was, so I unknowingly grilled him with enough scientific queries about merpeople to send him back underwater with a grumpy burble. Ford gives you a small, genuine smile. But I can't say it's all been bad. After all, I haven't managed to repeat that kind of mistake yet here. If you did, you'd be surprised by how much I know about merpeople. So how do you think this match is going? Go for the height. I'm gonna ask him about it. Ford shrugs, so he's sporting a light blush. I think this one has potential. Yes! You both look around the disaster scene of a kitchen. Since Mabel conveniently had other things to do, she left you and Ford with the task of cleaning everything. Ford rolls his sleeves up and adjusts his glasses. Come on, let's get this kitchen cleaned up. Woo! Yes! This has potential! This is actually working out. Alright, I think I made a lot of progress. I went on a little longer than I thought I would. So, we're gonna just end it here with our love meter increasing. We're just gonna ignore Stan completely. Maybe if I feel like it, I'll go back and play through only Stan and see what happens maybe if I do both of them at the same time. Either way, Ford, I love you. And I'm gonna have to call it a night. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and comment. Check the description. I've got social media things. Subscribe, like the video, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Later.